hang tight for about 5 minutes and we will get this panel going. So happy to see you here. Yeah. I love that you brought snacks too. I have to have snacks on sync. Hello, come on in. I'm just behind the stage. Oh, it's behind the stage. Sorry, so just, use the stairs to the right of the microphone there. Hello, welcome, come on in. Good, how are you? Should we do this thing? Let's do it. Okay, I was saying before, all of you have brilliant things to share, so like just feel your gut, run with whatever. If it's really exciting, you have anything to add, I feel like I said that to move on. So chill. Amazing. Yeah. Okay.
How's everybody doing today?
Okay, we're gonna try that again. Back to one. How are we doing today? There it is. Thank you. Even if we don't have the energy, we have to pretend because the festival is like less than a month away. So we have to sustain, right? Thank you all so much for being here at the final workshop of the 2026 series, Festival Expectations. So we're super excited. I'm Lois, in case we haven't met. I know I'm looking around. I've met most everyone at this point, thankfully. But Lois, she, her pronouns. I'm your co-director here at Hollywood Fringe. Visual description for anyone who may be blind or low vision. I'm a white woman currently wearing a white tank top, tan pants with mid-length, kind of dark brown blonde hair. And we do that, like I said, for anyone who may be blind or low vision so that they are just as a part of the conversation as anyone who is able to see us. Okay, before we jump in, the Hollywood Fringe acknowledges that we are on the unceded lands of the Gabrielino, Tongva, and Chumash peoples. Our statement serves as a practice as we commit to furthering our connection to Indigenous communities past, present, and emerging. You can learn more about our land acknowledgement and a bunch of resources at hollywoodfringe.org/land. All right, thank you for the McCadden for hosting us today, and Aaron, who is somewhere in the building making things happen. Just for kicks, is anyone performing at the McCadden this year? All right. Well, sounds like those shows need to be coming to events. Looking at you. Remember, these events are live streamed and recorded for all those who are performing at the McCadden who are not here. So hello, everyone watching on YouTube. Roddy, wave Roddy. Everyone knows Roddy at this point, right? Hopefully. Roddy is in the chat, so you can ask your questions and be just as involved as everyone is here, but in the comfort of your home, which is always nice. Okay, I think we're just going to jump right in, right? I'm going to talk at you for a little bit, but way less than I usually do at the town halls, I promise. And then we're going to jump in with these marvelous panelists who are here to share just absolutely brilliant information because they've done this before and done this really, really well. So we're going to get to you so soon. But let's start with code of conduct because it's an important part of the Fringe journey, especially as we get into the tornado of chaos. I know that who's stressed? Raise your hand. Holy hell, right? Yes. Yes. Us too. And it's okay. And that's why I think it's an important time to bring up code of conduct again, because we do have it. It's important that you check your behavior at the festival, that you're producing content that isn't filled with hate speech. We have a line here at Fringe, and we do take it very, very seriously. We've talked about it. And of course, the code of conduct can be found at hollywoodfringe.org/conduct. But this is the reminder to be kind to yourselves, to be kind to each other, to be kind to your venues, to be kind to your Fringe staff, because it is so easy in moments of stress to act without thinking. So I just implore upon you to take deep breaths in those moments and remember, like, our world is absolute garbage fire. It's a garbage fire. And there is so much happening there is food scarcity, there is housing issues, there are people who do not have basic human rights. And you are all here at Fringe telling stories, telling truth, like against all odds in a world that is trying to shut artists up from telling their truth. So I think it is so much more important that in this space that we support each other and we show each other kindness because you deserve that and we're all going to be better for it. So please take your code of conduct seriously and make sure if you're the primary producer on your project to be that leader in your team, to make sure your team understands the code of conduct, that you're sharing it with them. Like, make it a point at your next rehearsal to have a 20-minute chat about the code of conduct because you are responsible for your team. You know, you are our contact. So if something happens within your team, we're looking at the primary producer. So let's all move forward in kindness and love because we're going to make our world better one step at a time. Key festival dates. May 1st, what happened? Yes. And if you're like, oh, fuck, I've only sold 4 tickets, that's okay. I want to remind everyone, especially in a post-COVID world, tickets move slow and don't let it like deflate you and stop you from continuing to market. Now is the time to continue to push people, especially like we're scrolling on Instagram. We have 1,000 things in our heads. You need to remind people 35 times, I swear, in order for them to actually commit to that ticket purchase. So don't let it slow you down. Don't think you're way behind everyone else. We're just in a world where people do things last minute. minute. So know that it's going to be okay, but don't stop pushing for those ticket sales. All right. After that, the 4th through the 9th are the Fringe previews. And then June 10th, the opening night party at the LA LGBT Center. Tickets have gone on sale for that event. Know that with your Fringe button, you get a free reservation. So you can just reserve that on the Fringe site. And if you do not have a Fringe button, all the primaries get one for free. And then anyone a part of a festival project, so like part of the team, get a $3 button. And that $3 button is your ticket into the opening night party. That is our way to ensure that the opening night party is a part of the community and it's not just, open to the general public. We love the general public, but we can't all fit in the LGBT Center. So it is an event for artists and community members to celebrate the opening of the festival. After that, June 11th through the 28th is the official 2026 Hollywood Fringe Festival. And then, of course, June 29th, that following Monday, will be our awards ceremony. Okay, this is, like I said, our last workshop. So we have one more town hall. That is going to be an important one, especially if you want to talk about awards, because I'm not going to talk about it much today. But if you're thinking about awards, industry, all of the things that are there for you to take advantage of in June, that town hall is going to be key. So that's going to be on Thursday, May 14th from 7 to 9 at the Broadwater. And I know the Actors Company does have an event that night if you are in that space, but no, again, it's recorded. It's live streamed, so you will have access to that after the event if you cannot make it. So at that, like I said, we're going to do awards. We're going to talk about the Discover Fringe Industry Program. We're going to talk about press, kind of all of the details that you're not going to want to miss and then go, oh, shoot, that was available to me all June. And then we're going to talk about Fringe Central or Fringe HQ. We changed the name last year and eventually it's going to stick. Fringe HQ and all of the events that are happening there. Okay. All of that, remember, at Hollywood Fringe is our YouTube channel. So if you've missed anything, if this is your first workshop, welcome to the party. So happy to have you. You have some homework to do. Jump in and watch the 6 other workshops that have happened so that you are fully caught up. Okay, office hours. How many people have gone to office hours? I love it. Do we even need to talk about it then? But it's important, right? I feel like they're fun. They're a chance to get to know the community and really take advantage of what the festival is. You could produce any old time. You can do a show at any of these venues, rent year round. You are doing Fringe to be a part of a community. So I highly recommend if you haven't been, anyone at home who hasn't been, please come to office hours and really embrace the whole point of being a part of a festival. Okay, participant resources. The Artist Hub is going to be so crucial still to your journey. You can find it. A quick link is hollywoodfringe.org/participants, but it's right in the Artist Hub on the right side of the website as well. There's a marketing opportunities blog that we've added recently with a bunch of opportunities to market your show through the festival. These are things like cabaret, postcards and poster drop-off, all of the different things that we put together as a Fringe staff to support opportunities for you to market your show. We do not insist that you do them, but I highly recommend you take advantage of these free programs to make sure you are getting your show out there and all of the resources we have. We also have our Fringe blog, hollywoodfringe.org/news, where we're dropping anything that we're putting out there and needing you to be reminded of. So that's something to keep an eye on. And then, of course, read your participant newsletters. Please, please, please. I promise you, if you're reading them to the bottom, I know they are long, but if you are a primary, I know I can hear the, yes, they are. But I promise if you read them every week, you will not miss anything that is A, important to your journey, or B, a possible good opportunity for you. So make sure you're reading those. Hot tip, if you save support at hollywoodfringe.org in your inbox, that will keep us out of your spam folder, which is super helpful because sometimes those support at emails end up in spam. Okay. As I choke, we're doing great. Just 1 second. Remember, you can always email support@hollywoodfringe.org, your best Fringe pal, to get help throughout the season. We're now playing the fun game of audience and artist, because all of your audience is also coming to us for ticket exchanges and help managing the site. But please don't forget that we are still here to support your journey, even though things like the train is kind of up and running. So please email us with questions. Okay. Fringe HQ. Drink, break, pause. Right. Caffeine, it's what keeps the festival going. Okay, starting June 4th. Fringe HQ will open. Our Fringe HQ is our box office. So we do an in-person box office to make sure that audience has that like face-to-face interaction if they're looking for in-person sales or help navigating the festival. Y'all, there are 480 plus shows at the festival, which is overwhelming to even the festival like organizers. And so like we are there to help audiences not just buy a ticket, but help navigate. Okay, you wanted to go see this show? Can I recommend another cabaret that might be up your alley? Like, so we're there helping them see the festival as a whole beyond just the ticket they may have come to purchase. Beyond that, we have our merch shop. We have some, we should have brought some. That would have been so smart of us. But some really sick merch this year, if I do say so myself. I don't know if you've seen some of the promos we've started to run, but the line this year is LA is a theater town, which ding, 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 right? Y'all are making that happen. And we're just finally shouting it from the rooftops. But we'll have shirts, we'll have buttons, we'll have magnets. Roddy and friends have been screen printing totes that say LA is a theater town. So cute. So that's where we'll have those available. And the shirt this year has all of the show names on the back, or all of the show names that registered by the deadline of April 15th on there. You know, that's where that deadline was important. But definitely come to Fringe HQ as an artist as well. That's going to be your place to engage with each other during the festival and engage with audience, right? People are coming there to buy tickets. And if they find you, they're going to probably want to hear about your show. So that's going to be where that happens. It's going to be open Wednesday through Sunday, June 4th through the 28th. Our hours are Wednesday through Friday, 5 to 12, and Saturday and Sunday, 2 to 12. And we'll have a little bar, beer and wine, kind of on the east side where there's not really any place to hang out in between. That was kind of our methodology with that, is like, where do you go in between shows? Now we are filling that gap, so you'll have a place on the east side. Okay, reminder that place is not ours year round. The amount of times we always get people mailing stuff, we don't own that space. We will not be there until June 4th. So please do not use the address on the website to mail us things, because they will go to someone else. And that would waste your money. We don't want that. Okay. Awards. I told you we wouldn't talk about it much, but I'm going to talk about it a little bit, just to make sure we can have a conversation with the brilliant panelists about awards and there's some context. So again, we're going to go in depth on our Thursday workshop or town hall. But the idea with awards, they don't fucking matter. I want to get that in your head. At the end of the day, like, it's art. An award does not make it better art. It just means the person giving that award really liked it. And I want to impress upon you, because at the end of the day, awards will not change your ultimate journey as an artist. And the moment they start to change your journey, you're doing something wrong. And it will affect how you're able to continue to create art, because the awards are a bonus. And I think we need to look at them that way. We're going to have a great experience. But we do have two kinds of awards, because again, we live in the world and awards are a thing. So community awards, those are automatic. Once you've signed up for the festival, the community awards you're automatically entered into the category selected. So where you're at in the guide and what's listed on the website, that is the category in which you are considered for. Comedy or clown or drama, those are the categories. And then top of Fringe, everyone is considered. International, anyone who is coming in from out of town, considered. And then best world premiere, anyone who is premiering their work at the Fringe, considered, right? For that, you don't do anything. And we'll talk about, some people do for your consideration things, like that's totally up to you. But in general, you can kind of leave that alone and understand that if you're filling seats, you are filling your seats essentially with people who could potentially vote for you. Anyone who sees 3 or more shows is able to vote for those community awards. So that's what I'm going to give you there. Like, that one's kind of a hands-off awards process. Industry or Discover Fringe Industry Awards. Those are a little different. Those are apply for consideration because these are opportunity awards. We work with partners like Soho Playhouse in New York off-Broadway, several LA theaters, Australia festivals, MILANO Off Festival, these different opportunities for your show to do something else post-festival. So those are going to be the awards you apply for consideration for, because we want to make sure you're interested. If it's an award to go to Adelaide Fringe in Australia, we want to make sure the people getting the award want to go. And so these aren't just a laurel congratulations. It's a real opportunity to take your career or the show to the next level. And so those you do have to apply for consideration for. Some of them you may be right for, some of them you may not be. And again, we're going to go over this a lot more on Thursday, and we'll be sending emails in your participant newsletter. So another reason to make sure you're paying attention to that. But I think at the end of the day, again, awards, garbage, right? Doesn't matter. I know they will to you, but I'm just trying to put that in the head. But think about goals, because at the end of the day, I think the awards really are the cherry on top if you're following kind of the right goals for your show. If you're remembering that personal relationships matter, because even like, yeah, we might have 15 or 20 awards, but the people in this room, the people in the festival, like y'all have cool jobs. You have opportunities to give each other that go well beyond the partnerships that we're building. So if you're remembering to like think quality over quantity and getting to know your fellow artists, that's going to provide you opportunity. Remembering you're a producer, filling your house, that's going to provide you opportunity. If you remember to put in the work, if you're creating sick art, that is going to provide you opportunity. And so just continue to focus on the things that are going to affect your journey with this show. Everything else is going to be bonus. Yeah. And see each other's work. Oh my God, don't forget that like you have this beautiful like tea kettle to refill your cup with, and it's going to change your ability to move forward as an artist and the work you create after, because you get to see, I mean, it'd be hard to schedule, but hundreds of shows, and you really get to dive in to the research, the learning, the inspiration, because as an artist, we never stop learning. And if we do, oh no, the stories are going to get boring, right? So continue to learn from each other. Okay, I think I'm going to step off that soapbox now. We're all done with that. And I am going to let the panelists take it from here. So brilliant friends, please introduce yourself. Yes. But please introduce yourselves, your name, your pronouns, a visual description, and then tell us a little bit about your Fringe experience and the show you brought to the festival. And I have a microphone for you, and we can just kind of go down the line, keep it cash.
Okay. Hi, I'm Sylvie Wang, she, hers. I'm an Asian woman. I'm wearing a dress, black top, tan skirt, and then talk about
your show. Yeah.
My show was the most important part. My show was called Sylvie Wang Presents Sylvie Wang. It was a comedy show. It'd be insane if it was called that and not a comedy show.
It's a drama.
Yeah, it was a solo show where I played like a very heightened version of myself. I played a comedian in the year 2100 who was like the most famous comedian in the world. And then I was taking the audience through the journey of like how I became the most famous comedian in the world. That was the general. It was a really good show.
Always learning at shows, right?
Hi, everyone. I'm Angelique Fastukjian. Do I have to press up? Oh, it's not real. Okay. I'm Angelique Fastukjian. My pronouns are she, her. I am a white woman with brown curly hair, mid-length. I'm wearing a striped reddish beige top and flare blue jeans. And the show that I brought to Fringe, I did Fringe in 2023 and 2024. So the first year I did a comedy called The King and I Am Paul, which is about a couple moving into an apartment together for the first time. The king is Elvis, and she has an Elvis collection that he doesn't know about, and madness ensues. And then the second year I did a show here actually called Our American Tragedy, which was a historical drama that took place backstage during the Lincoln assassination. So yeah, busy bee.
Awesome. Hey everyone, my name is Yusuf Sajid, he, him. I'm a South Asian man, dark hair, beard, wearing a blue shirt and black jeans. I did a show Fringe last summer called Natural Born Citizen. It was an autobiographical solo show. It was like half storytelling, half acting as the people in this true to life story that was slightly or moderately dramatized. I did it at the Hudson Guild Theater. Prior to that, I hadn't produced a solo show before or done something entirely on my own, and that'll be important for some of the conversations a little bit later.
Hi, everybody. I'm Rashawn Durrell, he, him. I am an African-American man with a black sweatshirt and blue jeans. Last Fringe, I wrote a show called The Server Slasher Massacre. It was about a restaurant and the waiters in it who were being targeted by a crazy person in a mask. It was 10 people on stage running around killing each other. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. Yeah.
And I think you're right. And I think like context, raise your hand. I already know, but like if you had larger casts, and just take a minute, because I feel like those with larger casts, you're going to relate to a lot of their marketing strategies. And then solo work,
the other, right? And so I think like keep that in mind because I think it changes the context of how you exist within the Fringe community and how you choose to do things. I love that. Y'all, I'm so excited to have you here. These are my favorite because I just get to pick your brains about all of the things that I question all year. So this is amazing for me. So let's start with, we're just under a month away from the Fringe. Where should your focus be? Where should the, like, what should you be worried about? What should you be working on right now to give yourself the ultimate success come June 4th? And anyone can jump in. I can also pass.
You're probably nearing your tech date in a few weeks. I feel like you can rehearse as early or as late as you need to. If you have access to the space or if you're rehearsing somewhere else. But I think you should be getting towards like the final lock-ins of your show. And then that tech time is really, really important. I feel like you want to go into that time as prepared as possible. So, yes.
Yeah.
I think like there's truthfully this point last year, I don't know about Sylvie, but I feel like I was pretty much doing everything simultaneously, like finishing writing it, finishing some logistics with. I think that this 1 month out, just to be concise, the advice I would give is it'd be really helpful if last year, 1 month out, I had nailed down some of the logistics parts. So specifically booking my photographer, booking my videographer, and calling the theater to make sure whatever the requirements were for tech. The other kind of thing that I did do, which was helpful, was I made a Google sheet and wrote like social media copy, and I picked like, okay, these are the 18 days I'm going to do Instagram and Facebook and whatever other channels. This is the copy that's going to be. We're 1 month out. You know, this is the promo code I'm going to use. This is the promo code I'm going to use when there's not a lot of tickets. So I'll reduce it to 50% off instead of, 10%. And just having a sheet so you can just go on the day of. Because as Lois was saying earlier, just like with any type of B2C marketing, you need to repeatedly hit the audience until they transact. So don't feel shy that you've sent 11 social posts or what have you, because that's just how it works in any kind of business to consumer marketing. So preparing some of the logistics is a good, I think, place to be in. Perhaps.
Yeah, definitely piggybacking off of that. If you're concerned about tickets or marketing, if you haven't been marketing, that's totally okay because we're all doing so much at this point. But definitely, if you can, set up a plan, because something that we got caught up in often was, oh, we know we need to post on Monday, and then it's Monday morning and we're figuring out that caption, we're figuring out that image. So if you're editing graphics, if you're doing Instagram reels that need to be edited, just really give yourself that editing time and understand kind of what your marketing plan is. If you're caring about having specific people show up, work on your press release and get that sent out in the next 2 or 3 weeks. I would say sooner if you can, but definitely be concise and understanding your PR, because some people want to do PR, some people don't care either way if they have certain people attend. But if you are wanting that, just, figure out who those people are that you want to invite and start being mindful of what they need, like a press release or just understanding your show, because their June is going to book up. So if you want judges or reviewers to come, definitely keep in mind that their schedules get busy. So have that in your head and don't just wait till preview week, because that might get a little bit more tough.
Yeah. Oh.
Wow. I'm going to keep this one.
I'll keep this one.
Yeah, what everyone said was so great. I don't know if I have a ton to add on top of that. I went to office hours for the first time recently since last year, and I was like, wow, I forgot how much work this is. Just like meeting everyone and just like the energy, and it's a great energy, but it is a lot. So I do think, along with all that, take care of yourself for sure. Take a breath, because it's like the work needs to be done, but it also will get done by the time you do it. Like by the time the date comes, you'll have it done. You'll do it, you'll figure it out. Yeah. Or you'll make it work, or you'll make it work if you haven't. I guess the basics, I'm trying to think of things I think if you haven't already, if you know people other people who are doing the show or lightly met people, message people to do comp swaps. Cause I think that's, cause if you're, right now, kind of what Lois mentioned, maybe ticket sales aren't the highest because it's so early. So it's kind of nice just to like kind of fill out your calendar too, to see like, to know what shows you're going to see in June already. And then also it's kind of nice to just like see the tab change a little on the admin page and be like, oh, people are coming to my shows, even if it is, I mean, and it's great. Comp swaps are great. It's like a great way to like start building tickets. And also because I reached out pretty early to people and people were like, you're like the first one who's asked me to do a comp swap. And also people were like, how do you make a promo code? So it was a nice way to communicate with people and be like, oh, this is a good
You can knowledge share.
yeah, of like how to use the back end and things like that. So that was helpful. Yeah, that was helpful to also just start talking to people and reaching out to people. Even if it's people that you tangentially know, no one's mad that you're reaching out to like watch each other's shows. So, and yeah, no one's being rude or anything like that.
Yeah. 100%. Every one of these things, which I know sounds like a lot, but Sylvie's right. It will happen. And you know what? And some of it won't. And that's okay too. It's recognizing like you're human. You're going to get as much done as you can. And in those moments, you're going to know how to triage what absolutely has to happen. And I think, looking at like a spreadsheet, y'all, if you're not already a spreadsheet fan, today's the day to find those spreadsheets. Because I think it's easier to look at a marketing plan or a press plan or any of these plans, a tech plan. And if you can see the big picture and you can start to see which weeks are going to be more hellish for you, or you can start to build a story. So you're not just thinking I post on Mondays, because if you just post on Mondays, that can get really boring. Why are you posting this on that Monday? What is the storyline? You're creators. And so the more you can create within all of these plans, the more exciting they're going to be for your audience and the more fun they're going to be for you. So looking at that big picture will help all of these little things get into place. Okay, so let's talk about engaging with your community, because Sylvia, you already kind of started that, and I'd love to kind of continue that conversation of like now, people are just now reaching out. It's a great time to start to engage with community. So how did you engage with community? And like, was it, of course, like marketing swaps or comp swaps, but was there things that you helped another show with and they helped you with box office support, or like what ways did you engage with the community?
I think there were a lot of different ways. I think I was lucky. I was already kind of in the alternative theater comedy scene in LA. So I was very lucky that I knew a bunch of people who were also doing shows. But so we would comp swap and talk about things like that. But then also I met a lot of people through the office hours. And also because I was doing a solo show, I was, comp swapping with my comedy solo show friends. It was nice when I was like, oh, you're making something serious, like a serious play. Because I was probably watching like 10, I probably saw like 10 to 15 like solo comedy shows that I was like, oh, I'd love to see like something more serious or something that's like yeah, something, just like something to spice it up. So, and I think that was also like getting to know people who weren't maybe in the same genre or category as you, I think was really helpful. And also I did feel very like, oh, this is a community and people are so talented. And just like being exposed to different kinds of art was great. So I think the office hours, reaching out to people. I think there was also a big Instagram group that I got added to that did the Fringe Friends. But I don't know. I feel like that one, I don't know if it's as active now. I feel like if there hasn't been a new one created, maybe a new one being created, because it was just really good to have, because sometimes people would be like, I have a time slot available at this time between two shows. Does anybody have a show or a code? And then you would just get someone to come watch your show, because they'd be like, oh yeah, your show just fits into like, I have time to kill between these two other shows I'm going to see. So I feel like stuff like that was always really helpful, because when you're in it, you're just going to so be in the thick of it, and you're gonna actually, I think you're really gonna want to watch like a lot of shows. It's like a cool experience to be part of it.
Yeah. And I think running with that last minute, just to add to that, like recognizing that like you can be more specific about filling your seats. Like if you want to just like openly comp swap, that name is so hard to say, that is totally fine. And I think it's a matter of like going into what your goals are, right? And so you don't have to feel like you have to take these free tickets and give these free tickets. Like do whatever you've decided on both ends. I think that's important, but it can be more targeted of like, you know what, my preview. I think the preview, if you are going to give away comps, that preview is the one to focus on, get those butts in seats, we're going to talk about it. And then additionally, it's like, right, the last minute, like, you know what, the show's in an hour and I have 5 tickets. Let's get my friends in here. Because also that helps you if you do have someone from the press there, if you have an awards judge. If an awards judge sees an empty house, like I can't in good conscience send that show to Australia to market if they can't market here. And so recognizing that those butts in seats can sometimes work for you beyond just come see my show.
Yeah. A big thing that we did, first of all, it's kind of twofold. We figured out who was also at the same venue as us. It's really nice to build community within community. And when I was at the Steph Fury the first year, we made a really genuine connection with 3 other shows. And we came together to do this sort of Instagram poll, like Instagram grab, where you followed everybody, you know, like yada, the thing we all see it happen all the time. But basically, the winner of this raffle got a comp to every one of our shows, to whatever show of their choosing. And it was a really nice way to spread the reach of our show and also make that genuine connection with other fringers. So definitely would recommend that as far as support within the community. And then the second thing, if you're doing a playbill, we did a digital one that we would just hand out a little QR code on a paper every day. And on that, it was through Stage Mag, which is a free playbill service if anyone's interested. Definitely write that down. Yes. And on there, there's a section. So like you can set it up however you want. And then at the bottom, there's an advertisement section. Something that we did, because we didn't comp swap as much. We did for certain people that just in general, like as we met people, we comped as needed. But we did a lot of promo codes. And then something that we just offered anyone we met that was interested. Like if I would meet someone at office hours, I would say, oh, you know, if you're interested, email me your show poster. We'll throw it onto our link. And so we had a whole section of Fringe shows at the bottom, and you could link to their tickets through that. So if someone clicked on it, they would get redirected to the Hollywood Fringe. And it was just something that we just did. And it didn't matter if they didn't do it for us. It was just something that we wanted to do to share the love and let people know about shows. Because as Lois said, 480 shows, you're going to find out 5 years later about a show you didn't know existed. Like there's so many shows. So
I'm still seeing shows from 2023.
Yes, I know. Yes. That's the thing.
Not even exaggerating.
Last year, I think I saw 15 and I thought I was doing great. So just so you know, it might have been less than that, but it's just a nice thing to do. So if you're interested in, you know, making friends and finding support that way, finding ways to do some other people a solid, I think is a really nice, good set of goodwill.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There were 3 of us that had the same director. And so that was, we did like a joint social post a few times. And so that was effective. And we made like a promo code that was the director's name and helped promote each other's shows. I think in office hours, similar to Sylvie, I think I found like the solo show people and tended to like that be my network within that. And so comp swapping with them. And then when you comp swap, I think it's important to remember, and y'all probably have the intuition to know this, of like, you know, make sure you're building a connection with someone, that there's some instinctual commitment there, that you, when you say that you would go, that you would go. And I would say for the most part, I would say like 95 out of 95% throughput with the comp swaps. And so that was effective. There was a few people I met in the office hour who are doing solo shows who, through conversation, we decided to do like 2 hours on Zoom where we actually tested our material. Because we were solo people, and even if we had directors, it was still very isolated. So, and shout out to Lindsay, Charlene, and Kyle. And so, yeah, and that was really effective. And, you know, I was someone, and I'm still someone who's also very, and I'm sure everyone here is, very picky and choosy when it comes to feedback, right? And I think that's important to remember, use your own barometer. But it was really helpful. And because, again, I was still writing up until June. And so it was nice to get some feedback from people I trusted in meeting office hours who were doing similar work. Who had already done solo shows perhaps before and what have you. And so I think those are some of the important. Oh, and then, you know, as they mentioned, going to the show and then I'll, you know, take a picture and then I'll go online and put on social media. Oh, Charlene's show, everyone go watch it. And I'll make a URL, and they would do the same for me. So they would cross promote on social, like snapping pictures or promoting that way as well. And then our venue hosted a happy hour, which was really nice because I met a few people. I had it in the happy hour and the office hours. And we just kind of bonded together and watched our shows. The last thing I'll say is, for me as a solo show person, after I did my preview, I realized I was like, I actually have a lot of brain space and energy to watch shows. Because like, you already done it. I know I had it memorized. I had the hour memorized. I had done bulk of the marketing. All there was to do was just send social posts. So I was like, wait, I actually feel like I have more time starting June 6th than I did the past month. So I saw like 23 shows. And so keep that in mind that you might actually feel more energetically free after the preview's done. Again, I was a solo show person. So yeah.
Yeah, when everyone said just there's a really neat feature on the website where when you're registering your show, it asks you for kind of tags of what your show is about and the genre. And so I went and I found everyone who put horror. I was like, I'm going to look for all the other sickos and find their shows. And I went to go see those shows, and we opened on Friday the 13th at midnight. And
Brilliant.
it was super fun. We put like blood orange mimosas out for everybody that was coming. And one great piece of advice that Amber at the Zephyr gave us is to make every performance seem special. You don't want to just say, just come see my show. We were like, well, Friday the 13th is like, it's going to be bloody. It was the same bloody. But, you just want to make it. Yeah. You just want to make it seem special so that you're not just treating everyone like a number or like a ticket price, And so we can make it like a night of horror. Go see their show and then end it with us at midnight. And we had 10 people in the cast. It sounds really stressful, but that's also a really good networking advantage because I can't see 480 shows. But if all 10 of us are going out and networking and seeing people's shows and actually connecting with them, those are people that are going to come see your show too. So we cast a wide net for all the freaks. Yeah.
I love. Yeah, can I follow up really quick just on that? Because I think that is a struggle I hear every year. Is like I have a large cast, but I can't for the life of me get them involved. How did you inspire them to be as involved in the festival as you were?
They were all my friends, so emotional blackmail is great. But we've worked together for so long, and I think when I pitched it to them, they were like, "Sounds great, sounds fun," and then I was like, like Lois said, you can do this show any time of the year. You can book these venues, but the advantage of Fringe is the community. And I was very straightforward with them. Like, I don't want to do this during this festival unless we're going to like engage with the community and reach out and really find people. And we found some really great relationships throughout the entire month of June. It's a long, pace yourself. It's a long month. And then on that flip side, then it's over. You know what I mean? So, that was something that when I sat everyone down, I was like, let's get in there. And
that's great. Really smart early intentionality.
Yeah.
And then Angelique, you wanted to add something? Yeah.
I don't remember exactly if this is on topic, but when you said big cast, I was like, oh yeah, something too. If you're feeling that concern of just building that community and filling seats, and you are someone that's down for promo codes, we gave each actor their own code. So I had a 7-person cast.
Competition.
Let's see what you can do. But we had 7 people, so it was like, and 2 of us were the producers. We had 5 that were just hired and friends that were doing this for us. So we gave them, I think for opening, it might have worked for the whole festival. I don't recall right now, but it would be, Luke 20, that's 20% off his ticket, or Luke 2, if it's $2 off his ticket, whatever it is. And that allowed us to promote them, but also they could promote themselves and feel like they were giving their friends and family the hookup, because people want to help you when they feel like they're being helped. So especially, if your producer mind is going and you're like, how do I actually sell this too? Definitely loop in your cast that way. And I think that'll help them also engage with the community too, because they'll just meet more people that way as well. So just a little tidbit.
I love it's inspire and empower. If you're doing both of those two things, your cast is going to want to be involved. I love that. Exactly. Yes. And how for those that are solo shows, use friends. I've seen a lot of solo shows have my partner or my friend, or involve your community even outside of the festival to be yes-anding the process with you.
Yeah. And I'll add a quick thing for the comp swap thing. It was by the last office hour, you will be like, everyone's gonna be tired and everyone's gonna be like, it's coming. And it is like, but it's, which is good, but it's also, it's very exciting. But it is like that energy starts to build. I remember a comp swap that was funny was that me and this other person, we had just met through a mutual friend at an office hour. And I was like, let's give each other's postcard and like, let's share our codes, but like no obligation to actually watch each other's shows. You know what I mean? Just like this thing of like, we're already like putting so much energy out of there, and then I think it helped for both, and we both ended up seeing each other's shows. You know, it was just that thing where it helped to just be like, you have to, and it's like you don't necessarily. It's like you. I think I watched every show I did a comp swap with, but I didn't. But not. I wasn't like a huge deal if someone didn't manage to catch mine, because it was just like we're all trying our best and we're trying to be supportive in this space. I had also just quit my job, so I had a lot of time.
Yeah. I love, and I think focusing on quality over quantity is going to mean you automatically do that, right? And I think all of the things that you're saying here lead to that. Like, don't think, and because I see it every year at office hours, so this is your warning, where it's like, you know, you're going in with postcard, you walk away going, I don't have a fucking clue who I just met. But like, if every office hours or every time you're standing in line waiting for a show, give yourself like, I'd love to meet one person that can be a real connection, because quality over quantity will actually impact your life and your career in a way that I know 30 people from Fringe. No, you don't. Like, you don't if you've just postcarded them and given a comp swap, and like that is not real engagement. So like find how you're building community and not just existing near community. So let's continue on that buzz of Fringe. Like, so you're like, especially like right in June, how do you use the buzz that's generated by the festival, by the other shows happening, by the community to like push your show forward, but then also how do you stand out amongst this general buzz within the festival? Huge question.
Okay. Hold on. So during the festival, how do I keep the buzz going, or post festival?
I think both.
Okay.
So how do you use it? Basically, how do you use the festival to your advantage? Like using the buzz and also making sure within that you're able to stand out.
Yeah. I think. And to touch on awards a little, if you are interested.
We're just going to tickle awards. We're not going to.
You know, I produce with my best friend, Matt. So when I keep saying we, that's because it's not just me. We were hopeful for awards both years. So we were like, okay, how do we gear ourselves down that path? And we understood more the second year than we did the first year. But I think the big thing, even pre-festival, and especially once you're into the festival, is understand your niche, like how you found the horror niche. I brought historical drama to Fringe, and comedies, I think, dominate over drama, I think is safe to assume. So understanding where you fit and finding a way to make yourself relevant within your smaller space and then in your micro space, and then it helps in the macro. I think it's a lot of what people have said already. Like, you find your niche and you support that niche. You support everyone as much as you can, but we obviously have to compartmentalize and preserve our energy, because it's very easy to get burnt out during the festival. So I think figuring out who resonates with you and your work and who you are compatible with, and truly, like what you were saying about making genuine connection at office hours and these events. I know office hours are overwhelming and exhausting, and it's sensory overload, and you can't hear anything, and there's a lot happening, and we know that. I think for me, I would go in, and I tend to like talk a lot, if you can't tell, and be on overload. And then most I was like, Angelique, just slow down and just like make a friend, because I want that genuine friendship. Every time we did that, we really just built something that's lasted for years, and I'm really good friends with most of those people 3-4 years later. So I don't think this answers the question, but as far as buzz, I think when you make those connections, that keeps it going, because that person wants to support you as much as you're supporting them, and they just start talking about it. And also, a gimmick works sometimes. You know, I had to wear a huge hoop skirt, and I was like, I'm not going to look cute at opening night, and that's so annoying. But I wore that outfit to the opening night party, and I stuck out. And people are like, what the hell? What are you wearing?
Best dressed.
Thank you. But little things like that, you know, if there's moments here or there where you want to lean in and really have that festival spirit, I think that also helps literally make you stick out. And certain shows lend themselves to that more than others, and I recognize that. But just find your niche, whether it's on social media or in person, and kind of just lean in that way. Because I think it is hard. Amongst 480, 500 shows, to stick out is a challenge. So I think whatever you can do to set yourself apart, and if it is like how you were saying, make every performance a special one, like for us, we had a late night show here that I think was at 11 or 11:30, which was very late. And I forgot what we did, but we definitely had something. I think we included every person got like a show pin or something. And we really made it to where, and obviously if you're going to do merch, make sure your costs are low. Don't do merch that's really expensive to make. Like, in my opinion, hats were really expensive to make, but find ways to pull people in. And I think truly when you sell out a late night show like that, and then you sell out the next show, people are just going to naturally talk about it because the reality is a lot of shows won't obviously sell out all the time versus others. And so people just start talking. So I think front loading previews, if you can, I think is really great. And I'm going to stop talking now because I'm forgetting my point, but yes.
Yeah, I think what I can add to that is having a moment to understand what I'm not going to do. And I think I had that kind of come to Jesus moment in end of May. So meaning like for me personally, I was doing the vast majority of the producing for the solo shows. So I was like, for awards, I'm not even going to attempt. So I put zero energy into it because I had way too much going on in other places. And to Lois's point, with awards and other things, it really is the meaning that you attach to it and what you make out of it. And so you can create buzz post-show beyond someone anointing you an award with your own kind of promotion that you do yourself too. I think some other things were I realized how much of my own community had low awareness of Hollywood Fringe. So just use... Right. Well,
you're not wrong. It absolutely
right. And so I think, I say that to bring the point of like, don't assume that you're inundating your network with Fringe if you mention it a lot, because that's not the case, at least for my network. And so by having Fringe on my social posters, by having Fringe in the emails I'm sending out, by talking about Hollywood Fringe, it got people who are maybe like 4 degrees of separation to perk up a little bit, see this a part of something, and then go. And I think because when I was right sizing, how am I going to fill 40 seats 4 times, that it didn't make sense for me to come to office hours with a marching band, right? I was like, I don't have an ensemble show. I don't have 100 seats to fill 4 times. It's just 40 seats 4 times. Let me go through the avenue of just really maximizing my network, because I felt like it was challenging for me, and I'm curious about others, to get folks outside my network to attend the show. I think what I found to be helpful to what you had mentioned is I did an encore in July, and that's where I picked up people who had then heard the word of mouth in June. So I got the most strangers to come to the encore in July because they had heard about it from my degrees of separation network. So I think just a +1 of like, if you can front load things and then have stuff later, you can assume some of the strangers will come to the stuff later. And I think if you have a lot of shows, that'd be good. I just had 3 in June and then the encore in July. And I feel like if you had 5, maybe you can attempt to do that. For me, it just expectations wise, I did email some industry and talk about Fringe. I did those things. I think coming into it, I was joking with Roddy a little bit. I was like, I think in the back of my head, I had a vision. I'm like, all right, I'm going to finish my show. Shonda Rhimes is going to be on the sidewalk. I'm gonna get in her Benz. We're going to drive to Netflix. We're going to go to the top floor. Ted Sarandos is going to be there with a contract. I'm going to sign it and then peace out. That's the last y'all see me. Next time you guys see me, you guys got to pay, right? No, I'm like, and but no, she never came. So she was there. She never came, y'all. She never came. And I think the expectation is this, and I know I'm taking a moment, I'll pass it over, but I think the biggest takeaway I had from this is 90% of my show was my network. I did personal messages through email, Instagram, and text, and it worked. You know what I'm saying? Like that random person in the acting 101 class, the guy I went on a date with 2 years ago, exes, family friends that you haven't connected with in the city, but they actually came. And I think it's important, that personal message, having a promo code, making sure you design the message as if it is personal, I think is key as well. And that's how I got the bulk of people. And I think the takeaway from Fringe was, whereas I didn't finish Fringe and then I had a Shonda Rhimes contract, I think like the takeaway was like, it was my first time producing something. So what seemed like the top of Everest now seems like base camp for me. Ooh. And I hope that for all of you, that after you finish this, it'll be like, well, I know I can do this. So what's the next thing I could do? And I think that can help right size your expectations of like what you're gonna get out of this, depending on what you're seeing for yourself. Yeah. That said, always shoot for the stars and all that. But just wanted to say, when y'all get shot arrives, let me know.
Oh my God, I love, just to throw a stat in there, because I think you're 100% right. I think Fringe feels so big when you're in it. And at the end of the day, last year we had 73,000 tickets sold. But think about how many people are in fucking LA. Y'all, that is so, like, there are so many people, right? And so, like, yeah, it seems huge, but in the same way, like, high school felt huge until you go back to it now, right? And so recognize, I think you're so right. Don't forget that Fringe is still a new thing. We're only 16 years old. We're teenagers. And so many of your friends and family and acquaintances and ex-boyfriends like have no idea about Fringe. And so you're doing not just yourself a favor by engaging with them, but who knows how many other shows you're helping fill seats. So, yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, Buzz, I think creating like an elevator pitch of an elevator pitch is great because you're going to office hours. I'm sure you've heard what's your show about like more times than you can count. And we were just like, it's Scream meets The Bear. Come see it. And that was all we had time for because like Angelique said, it's just madness. It's overwhelming. And I think creating maybe a moment, just taking something out of your show where like we do this, and this in 30 minutes and just dropping a seed in someone's head of like, oh, I have to see that show where they cut somebody's head off. You know what I mean? Like it's just
Spoiler.
That's for the sequel. But yeah, it's about locking into somebody and also that connection that we keep talking about. So you're not just like throwing a postcard to somebody and then walking away, where you're like, oh, I met Rashawn and he talks about his show, not just that guy who's doing that thing. You know what I mean? I think that connection to go back to the community is really important.
Yeah, I figured out what I wanted to say. Just echoing what everyone said. And then I think, again, because Yusuf and I did the solo show, similar thing. I moved to LA 3.5 years ago. So I went on Instagram and literally filtered it to like most recently followed. And I DM'd almost everyone I met in like the past 3.5 years and it worked. It was the similar thing of like, people are excited to see your show. And also I think what we take for granted, this community is so great that we almost just like feel like it's a given that we're an artist community and everyone's an artist, but not everyone in LA necessarily is. And yeah. And those people want to see shows. Those are like your coworkers maybe at your more traditional office or just like people who who don't come from a creative background. You doing a show is so cool to them and they would be excited to see your show because it's like they don't necessarily have a friend group or hang out with people who are always like creating and making art or making theater. And we're obviously so lucky to be doing that. But it's also, kind of great for them. It's like mind-blowing to see local theater that's also like affordable and like someone they know is in it. I think that's really cool for those people as well. So yeah, and then also kind of crafting my message that I send. I try to craft it, individualize it to certain people. But sometimes you just gotta send a massive message though, because it's a lot of people. But I guess maybe
BCC, please God, BCC.
Yeah, and yeah, for sure. And I think also crafting the DM so that it's like, even if it's kind of obvious, it's like you're sending it to a lot of people. Change the name. I would always at least write, hi, this person's name, and then I think making like humanize it. I think. And because sometimes people respond and then it's like sometimes people respond. But when people responded, I would always be happy to have like a conversation with that person about it. And that usually definitely helped the person come see the show, which was great.
Yeah.
Audience reaction, like during the show, right after the show, if you have like a stage manager or a friend, just have them right outside the door or get like an audience reaction of applause or a moment that you know gets a huge reaction and just post it. And it like everybody in Hollywood saw my show, you know what I mean? Like just sell that shit, you know what I mean? But it any little thing helps, you know.
Really quick off of that too, if you're able to get your show filmed, if you want to do a photo shoot, you can. If not, at least shoot your tech rehearsal, bring in a photographer friend, whoever. That was a huge thing when we did both shows, but especially Our American Tragedy. We got a little photo shoot done. And so when you do those DMs to people, if it's me and because Matt would do that as well, the other actors would also DM sometimes. But if it was me, Angelique, sending that message, I would sometimes forego our poster and it would be me in costume and in character, whether it was on stage or the photo shoot itself, and, graphic design it, make it look bougie, whatever. But I would send that and they'd be like, oh, that's you, not as you. It's you doing acting things. That's cool. And so just anything that they can relate and tie it into with you more, I think that helps with keeping it personal. And, we're such visual people and we're so addicted to our phones. If you can film something and cut it into a reel, we get bored so easily. Sometimes posters aren't cutting it anymore. I think people are wanting to see movement and life. So shoot a rehearsal. It can be, not the greatest quality in the world, but shoot whatever content you can if you have the brain capacity for it. I know it's a lot. And anything that you can share coming like in the next few weeks approaching June is great to generate buzz. And then generating buzz during the festival, you can shoot your tech and then you have footage of yourself as an actor or your team on stage, but then throw in like a 3-word review from the reviews coming in so you look like you're doing really well and fake it till you make it. And that really helps with generating buzz during the festival too.
100%. And I think you're right on the filming. Like, I think we've seen a shift, and I'm saying this is an almost 40-year-old, but like we've seen even right on our end, like we send these newsletters, we send these tips on social. There's a reason, I don't know if it was, did you know with Roddy's became a thing because nobody was reading our content. We had to film it. And I'm going to name, I think it took less time to do, like you and I spent 30 minutes filming 5 segments in Ellen's kitchen. Sometimes we forgot to turn the light on and like, but it can be quicker actually to just quick, like, cause we're like living in perfection can be so harmful, right? Like that's white supremacy culture bullshit. Like let's actually like get out of that perfectionism and be like, you know what? I'm going to shoot I'm going to spend 5 minutes. I'm not going to over edit. I'm not going to filter. I'm just going to talk about how much I love the work I'm doing and how excited I am for people to see. Boom, done. And then you can move in and actually focus on the rest of it. I would love to because I think we're kind of
sorry, can I have you take Angelique's mic?
Oh, did we get?
Then I'll take this guy.
Oh, that was so insane. Switch. There you go. So I want to dive into, because you're covering all of the things I'm going to ask here. It's like marketing. So I would love, like we have all of we know to post, we know to email, we know these things. Do y'all have an example either of something that you did with your show or something you saw done by someone else's show that's like kind of outside of the box? Like, oh God, I can't believe they thought, like, do you have an aha moment or see someone else's aha moment that can kind of get our brains spinning a little bit?
Do you remember when Furiozzo came in 2024? Where was he from? It was an international show. Yeah. Prague? Poland. Okay, it was a P. Yeah. So this fantastic clown came to town. That shouldn't have rhymed, but it did. He was at the 3 clubs, and it was, I don't think it was an exchange. He just came to Fringe, correct? So obviously he's at a huge disadvantage coming into an international market where he might not have the connections that he has here. Something that he did where I was like, that's cool. He had his phone on a tripod with a ring light, and it was literally just posted at the door because he didn't have a stage manager or like people on his team or anything. It was very low stakes. I think he, like, when he said thank you at the end, he did mention it, but it was very much just like, if you're down, please say hi to my camera on the way out. And so rather than just getting these written reviews, because people forget to write reviews, it's very important. I'm very much of the school of thought, send your before email of like, what, like, my show's coming up, like, here's parking instructions, this and that, and like get people connected that way. And then also send your thank you email reminding them to review and to, vote for you for whatever things that you want. And I was very guilty of this too. I would have a list of reviews I had to do, and I would keep forgetting to do them because you want to be very thoughtful and insightful. Mm-hmm. So that was a really smart thing that I thought he did, because he was able to take these audience reactions, and it was literally just like, can you just give me 10 seconds of what you thought of my show? Did you think it was great? Cool. And so honest, because Piotr's just so honest. And there's a good chance a lot of people won't want to do it, but I did it. I saw a lot of people doing it, and he was able to cut that into a video, and he just put that on his socials, and it was very easily cut. It was just like snip, 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 nothing insane. But that alone was just, I think I've seen other people do that, but it was a very out of the box way because I feel like I usually see a friend come up to someone and ask them a specific question, but he kept it so open ended, and it was and low pressure because it wasn't someone being like, "So tell us what was your favorite part," and I'm like freaking out. But it was just the camera, so that was something that I thought was smart. So if your venue is in a safe place where like you can leave your phone, I just thought that was a good thing that he did. So.
We had someone that was very TikTok savvy. It was not me, who would come in every rehearsal, and she knew trends down to like the day. And so she would cut me off during rehearsal, and she'd be like, "Rashawn, I'm sorry, we gotta film this TikTok." And she'd get a couple like 10-second clips, and she would post it, and it would take off. And I have no idea how to do any of that. But if you know somebody who loves TikTok, it's an avenue that is great. And then we did kind of the Vanity Fair thing where they're doing like this or that, and it's super. We went to FedEx, printed out A or B, and we did like Michael Myers or Freddy Krueger, just to kind of nail the genre thing home, and that really got people engaged. And anything, just if you think you're doing too much or talking about your show too much, you're not even close to it. Like, it's just be so proud of what you're doing because it's amazing, and just drive it home.
Only thing I can think of to add is there was a solo show I saw where after the show, the individual, he stood at the exit and thanked everyone for coming and passed out a sticker. And I just thought that was a nice personal touch. You just remembered him when you saw him as you exited, and he thanked you individually with the sticker. And he also is really good about doing lots of like social posts. He had done the show a lot before, the same show, so he had a lot of clips, and his show's very dynamic, which is nice because then it makes the clips exciting. Whereas mine can be it was very brooding at times. So it's like so yeah, I think that stuck out. That's additive.
Yeah. Is it Woody's show?
It was Mark Vigil.
Oh, yeah.
Had his second solo show. He just stood at the
The one
door,
last year.
and I was like, I remember that. That was really nice.
Yeah. He's a hustler. Yeah, I mean, I think also, and he was a solo show. It can be, again, tricky when you're a solo show. It's just like so much is on your plate. So I think I was like, how did I figure it out? I mean, I think I did make a promo video with my friend, and it was a really like a dumb promo video where he just followed me around, and I was just like, it was because I was promoting in May. I was like, it's AAPI month. This is how you can support. Come see my show next month. Just like having like a fun thing. And then maybe having, I think we were saying logline, but like, someone else and like, this is my really good fight of what my show is.
Test.
Yeah, and then that way people will be like, okay, if it's not for me, then it's not for me. But if it is, then it's like, okay, I hear it, and that's the show. And that's
Sylvie, could I swap this mic with you?
Oh yeah, for sure. This would be a fun game. That was basically it of what I wanted to say, of just like really knowing what your show is and really being able to communicate it very fast and quickly because you're gonna be talking to so many people. And then for some people, it's just like, oh, it's sci-fi. This was an office where it was these girls who were like, we're sci-fi, like alien girls. And I was like, oh, cool. I like that, of just like really being able to like talk about what's fun or really interesting about your show that would be compelling to watch very fast.
100%. The more you can have that simple, you want all the options, right? Because you might throw out that scream across. I freaking love that. Like I'm going to use that from now on, the scream across the street version. And then if you catch them, you're going to need more. Yeah. So having like all of those steps is so important. I'm going to add like just as that brilliant marketing. And this is an example. So shout out to like Rosie and Haley from And Her Children, which won Top of Fringe last year and just got this Drama Desk nomination after doing the Soho Playhouse run from Hollywood Fringe. So like that's a trajectory. But that show is about gun violence. And I know there's a lot of shows that are playing in the artivism world, right? Where we're speaking like truth and making political statements and making it's activism. And so if you are that show, that what they did, which was brilliant, is not just focus on come see my show. It's here's gun violence stats. Here's what's going wrong in our world. Here's like they focused on an issue that their show was helping, like solve or like at least have a conversation around. And so like looking at what are those like parallels to your show. So it doesn't, especially if you're uncomfortable talking about yourself, what is something you can talk about to bring awareness to, or to celebrate, or to be silly about that is about your show-ish. And then you can tie those together. But I thought that was such a brilliant thing that you get to do two things at once. And her children. Yeah. Yeah, it's fabulous.
Can I ask a question about this too, Roddy? You produced Girl Blood, right? Was that the show that had tampons in bathrooms? Oh, let me talk about this. So yay, Roddy. Something out of the box that I saw Girl Blood do. Was that 2024? It was last year, I think, 2025. She's so good. Also a great producer. But for their show, they literally had tampons in bathrooms at different venues that had a little tag connected to the tampon. And these were unopened, like we could use them. So it was really nice as a person with a period. It was nice to have this option. But like, it was just like, oh, that's hilarious. And so out of the box that I'm just washing my hands and there's a thing of tampons staring at me that say like a QR code and the dates. And so if there's any theme to your show where you're like, that's unique, just like, put it somewhere it shouldn't be. And I think that I remember it to this day. I just thought that was so clever. So that's all I have to say. But yeah, I loved it.
Yeah, I feel like it's not always about merch. Like sometimes like they're the like in lieu of a postcard, what is something you can do? But I think it is key. Make sure they can get back to your show. I think sometimes you get in the creative space and it can be so easy to forget like, oh, they're gonna have it. Okay, I have this amazing item, whatever it is. It's a rubber ducky. What fucking show was that for? Like, what do I go support now that I have this? I have specifically, there's like a thing from the years ago, but it was like cute little like rubber toy. And I, for the life of me, will never know what show gave it to me. But it worked had I been able to go to that show. So yeah, thinking about making sure you're making the connection. I love this. Okay, we're going to do a quick shift into industry. So we're talking about, because you got to get butts in seats, right? That has to be your first priority, y'all. Because even if you get that industry there, it's nothing worse than having a press person in the front row and nobody else in the audience. So that focus is getting audience butts in seats. But then how was your press and or industry journey? And remember, we're going to talk a lot about how your industry journey will be. So we're talking like tips and tricks. We'll talk about the details on the website at the town hall. But how did you go about it? If you did, how do you gauge expectations? Because I think, Yusuf, you're so right. Like we're at LA theater, and as much as like the film and TV industry should be paying attention, they're not overall. Like even like Edinburgh Fringe, this is one of my biggest pet peeves is like, Baby Reindeer and Fleabag came out of Edinburgh Fringe. What else? Like it's not a guarantee, and unfortunately nothing is in this world, right? But I think like having that as a possibility, it's always a possibility for sure, but just commit to doing good work, commit to getting your work out there to the best of your ability. And the moment if you set expectations higher, you're just going to be disappointed. And so don't plan for that. Be excited by it if it happens. But so what was your journey for press, for industry? Did you do personal reach outs? How did that go? Because the press in LA is next to non-existent.
I'm maybe not the best one to talk about because I didn't end up doing press really or reach outs in that way. I did.
That's good to talk about. Though.
Yeah. I think also because for me, it was similar, I think to Yusuf, it was my first time like producing and making a show just for me, all myself. I was doing everything. So I was very like on a budget about everything. Yeah. Where I was like, we're just going to have to see what works. I think I'll also talk about awards a little bit because I think that was like is that like industry adjacent?
We can just like, because that was my next question.
Oh, gotcha.
Let's put everything in one pot.
Yeah. So for the awards thing, it was just like applying early, I think helped, and just getting those ducks in a row. That was, I think, like the most industry adjacent thing that I did, because also I was in a 30-seat theater, so just numbers wise, I knew that community awards might be a little trickier just because like numbers wise I wasn't, like in a 100-seat theater or things like that. So I think it was kind of what Lois said, where it is just like what makes your thing, or like what do you think is special about your show, or what works for you in the show. And like if you have that genuine passion for it, I think it does translate. So I think it does show in the work. And for the industry or award panel, you're just going to meet people and just be, I think having that genuine enthusiasm for your show really helps, if you just like really do ride hard for your own show. And hopefully if you're doing Fringe, I assume you are. What else? And then for award stuff, I think it was kind of nice not really having any expectations, because my brain was like, oh, community numbers wise, it's just not going to work, because I just didn't, my venue wasn't big enough to have enough people for the numbers to be comparable. But I had applied to all these awards and I didn't know everyone who was coming to my show. So I did get nominated for 2 shows. And because I had I got nominated for, I think, Denver and Adelaide Exchange, and also allowed me to learn about those shows. But because I really, like, that wasn't on my radar as much, because I was only more aware, like I applied for it and then kind of forgot about it. And then I was more aware of the community voting, because that's when everyone's promoting hard, everyone's sending those messages. And I was like, oh, well, that's not going to happen. So when it did, it was like, oh, this is such a nice surprise of like not expecting it. And then when it does, it's nice. Yeah.
Something really quick to that, because I think you brought up something I wanted to talk about, because I think you're a perfect example. Like when it comes to the awards, like with the industry awards, the opportunity awards, it's like an audition. Your show might be amazing and it could be the best in the entire festival, but if it's not right for that specific festival, like there's Adelaide Fringe, not every show is going to work. They don't have a lot of drama. They don't have a lot of like dramatic theater. So already we're looking at, or the short list that festival is choosing from, are shows that are going to do well at that festival. And so like there's so many things out of your control entirely. But I think using the awards like you did, where like you ended up you got introduced to Anne from Denver Fringe after. And so I think awards can be a beautiful way of not even about winning the awards, but it's about, holy shit, that's an opportunity I could do. Because you can go to Adelaide Fringe on your own. You can go to Denver Fringe on your own and use the people that who have done it, from the community. Like, so using the awards as oh, I could do this in the future. That's, I think, a really great way to look at the awards as well.
I think definitely going off of what you said, if you can put community awards to the side, because I agree with everything you said earlier, like it's not that big of, it's like great, but not that big of a deal. But definitely are they the Discover Fringe Awards? Is that what they're called? So these awards for exchanges and, Soho Playhouse and all these different things, I agree. Apply for those, and definitely apply for them early. They're up on the website now, correct? No. Not yet? That's a lie. They're not yet. Mid-May, we're going to release them. Great. But keep an eye out for those newsletters. Yes. But truly, keep an eye on those, because it's kind of a networking opportunity. If you can get yourself in early, you can also just get that anxiety out of the way of like having to reach out to a judge or whatever. Just do your submission for those. And then it's exactly what you guys were saying. You might meet the person that represents Soho at some point, just like having a drink at the Broadwater or whatever. And you already recognize their name or their institution. You can just chat. And to me, I find that personally more valuable than anything, because they're just learning about you, and whether or not you win, that's a bonus, of course. But I think just getting the Discover options done early if possible will just like alleviate that extra stress of another deadline in June or in late May. And then as far as if you want press or industry or very specific certified reviewers to come, something that we did, we went onto the Hollywood Fringe website and looked at shows that had done well in categories that we were in years prior, and looked at who reviewed them, because you can review all those reviews You can review the reviews publicly, and it'll tell you what their status is. Do they represent an institution? Are they just a certified reviewer? Are they uncertified? Whatever. And you can message them within the Fringe website. So that is something that I would suggest if you're curious or interested. And then also it's going to be some cold messaging on socials or via email. You're not going to get responses all the time, but also be willing to find every Facebook group under the sun, every Instagram group under the sun. And, whether it's what's happening in LA this weekend, if you just submit to that Instagram account and they accept just anywhere that you can share your show, I think will help as far as like potential industry seeing it. But then as far as other like Facebook groups and things too, a lot of these people that are judging are on those websites or on those, pages, and some of them might be older. So I think it's important to, consider those avenues as well. And I had something else to say, but I forgot, but it's probably for the best. So.
Yeah. I think just briefly, like I mentioned before, I had to get to a point where I decided that I wasn't going to, I didn't have time to really focus on PR or awards. And I think my biggest piece of advice is like, if you were to, if that is part of your goals, just to make a plan around it and understand what it takes. Understand with awards, you need to do some for your consideration business, put it in an email, reach out to people, show up more in office hours, things like that, and just understand what's behind those. I think for press specifically, I met with a journalist friend, and after I learned like the best practices, I was like, I either want to do it right or not do it at all. Yeah. So it was just good learnings on like what to do for next time. And then I think if you're, if you choose the path just to learn, what's nice is you will have a network of friends who maybe did go the avenue of doing press and get press, and then you can connect with them to learn like, how did that happen? How did you get that random guy? I think there's like so many people got like that like random guy from the Hollywood Reporter last year. Yeah. Oh, I was like, how did that happen? And a lot of it was just like he bumped into me somewhere. or other things as well.
Press too, just so like you could see the Fringe side. We are looking at the whole. Like we are like we're doing that on the Hollywood Reporter and like other avenues. But we have just as hard of a time as y'all. Like know that like there's not a lot of coverage, and they're not changing to get sales dramatically too. Like so know that like an LA Times article, nobody's buying tickets based on. You can't hear me. I'm just sorry. Okay. But we are doing what we can to connect. So we're learning about your show through your registration forms, through your project page. So good God, if you have not like really spent time on your project page, now is the time we're learning about your show. And that way when Alan's like, hey, we're doing an article about, that's not how he talks at all. I don't know what his voice is. I'm sorry, Alan. But doing an article about like TV and film artists who are going back into theater roots, we're able to, because of your project pages, know who is coming from the TV and film industry. And so we're not necessarily saying, this is like, here's a list of the 45 shows we found, have at it. And then they decide from there, right?
Yeah. The only industry like success that I got out of my first run of the show was I cold DM'd on Instagram a few comedians who have moderate success, and then a few casting directors who cast shows that are around my identity, what my show was. Originally to the couples that were local to invite them to the show, and the others that are based in New York or other places in the world, just to say along the lines of like, hey, you've done a similar type of show as a Playhouse, or you've done a stand-up special that's in the same vein of what I'm doing. I just want you to know that you've inspired me, and I was wondering if you'd ever be willing to connect. I would love to just like learn more about the path forward. And of like the 4 or 5 I messaged, one replied back, and we did a phone call, which was super helpful. And now we stay connected. And then with the casting directors, they didn't come, but I got a couple of people just responding back, just like with that's good, and then got to follow. And so there's some awareness, and so that was neat. And so you can use that you're doing this Fringe thing. Who has inspired you, who's done Fringe before, or done a similar show, and use that opportunity to connect.
Yeah, sometimes the visibility is the goal. And your venue sometimes will be giving out. We were fortunate enough to win an award that our venue was giving out. And that's visibility as well. They gave us an extension the following week after the awards. And podcasts are a great way. We reached out to any kind of genre podcast. Do you like slasher movies? Just come see us. Here's 2 comps. And we had people come and see, and a couple of reviewers came. So, like Lois said, this is not the value, the barometer for value of your show. It's what your end goal is. If you want to take this somewhere else, if we just wanted butts and seats and we wanted people to have a good time for an hour and enjoy our show, and everything else was a blessing on top of that. But just be as specific as possible. If you know that you're doing a clown show or you're doing a drama or you're doing an ensemble comedy, improv, find podcasts that love improv, or true crime podcast if you're doing any kind of true life story, but just hone in on what you're doing and find like-minded individuals, I think.
Thanks, everybody. Yeah, and I think you're all touched on this, and I think it's so important. Again, it's going back to like what are those little pieces of the thing, and whether or not like you're getting an award or you're getting that casting director at this show, you're building a presence. Like I think that was the word you used, and it was exactly right. It's a digital footprint. It's a like the reviews. You're building a toolkit for this show and for you as a producer and you as a writer and you as a whatever roles you're playing within this. You're building that kit that will help you in whatever comes next. Like for example, when other festivals, that's the world I know the best as an industry member. I go to other festivals. What I'm looking at is an artist's digital footprint. If I'm considering with the exchange program, we're bringing in an artist who has never come and performed in the States. A big part of that is a good show, fantastic. We need a good show, but we need somebody who can do producing, who can come into a country they've never been to, perform, produce, sell tickets, be a full producer, not just a full artist. And so we're looking at things like other festivals. If you apply to them, they're going to look at your Hollywood Fringe page. They're going to see what you've done in the past. They're going to Google. And so I think it's building that presence is so much a part of whatever comes next. Okay, this is going by so quickly and I have so many other questions, but I'm going to bring up my favorite question because I think it's so important to talk about failures as much as successes. And I love that the Fringe community is the safe space where we do feel like bold enough to do that. And so I'm going to bring up the oopsie daisy. I would love if all of y'all could share one or two just like oopsie daisy moments from your Fringe experience and maybe how you pivoted or would maybe didn't and go look back and go, whoa, this is what I would have done differently. But I would love if you're willing to share that vulnerability about what you wouldn't do again.
Okay. I would turn off my phone. Turn off my phone in theaters. Oh, no, it's fine. It's completely fine. No. That's my number one phone. No. No, I mean, this is a very specific thing. So specific to me. But there was someone, and the phone thing did kind of remind me of that, where a friend of mine asked if she could bring her baby to the show, and I said yes because it was it was my friend, and I'd met the baby before, and when it's a great baby, and it was she was a very docile baby every time I'd met her, but at my show could not stop crying, and I felt like the logical thing would be, if my baby's crying, I'm gonna leave the room. She didn't. I stood at my space, again, was a 30-seater. It was not a big space. I think she just like stood in the back and tried to calm her baby. But it was just like, but it was like during the show, and my show is really interactive. So sometimes I would be like, shut that baby up. But it was like, and it was fine. And it made sense. It made sense in the context of the show, if you see my show. But I was just like, I feel like logically you should know I hope she's not watching this, but all love, and she was apologetic. But I feel like the logical thing would be to just like, oh, this is happening, I'll leave, and then I'll maybe come back later, or just like see the show another time, So I think just it feels obvious. Well, now I know, like, maybe don't let people bring babies to your shows, or like if you know what your show. Like, if you know, like, the content or the context of your show, just, like, have it, being aware if your show is, like, maybe more, like, 16 plus, or, like, what I think in the larger range of, like, what is, like, the age, because I think it's a lot of our first times producing a show or making a show, so we're not thinking about things like that necessarily, but it is, like, what is the target audience age of my show? And also what would be potentially disruptive if for my show? So things like that, where that was such a specific thing where I'm like, oh, this should have been obvious, but it wasn't to me because I was just like, yeah, the more the merrier. I love that baby. But it ended up, backfiring.
Yeah, baby back by sending them to Server Slasher.
Yeah. Hello. I'm trying to think. One that keeps sticking out to me was, even though it's so exhausting, we want to unplug, like make sure you read all your DMs because we were really disappointed the year that we had an ensemble piece, the show that was in here, because there was a very specific Discover Award that we were interested in and apparently never hit send or never submit or whatever it was, or they had responded with something and we were disqualified from being, not so dramatic. We just didn't get to be considered. And it was like, I really think we had it. And so that's a real bummer. So I think just really review your checklists 5 times over because everything starts to get blurry and you start to get overwhelmed and you're like, I did that. I know I did that. And there's 2 of us. So we're like, you did it or I did it. And then you find out neither of you did it.
One primary producer.
Yes. So just really, if you're just check the checklist a few times if you can, because there are moments where I just felt like, man, I kicked myself because of an oversight. And especially if it's your first Fringe, definitely don't worry so much about being perfect. Definitely, Lois mentioned earlier, perfectionism is a cancer. I don't know if that's what you said. That's what I heard. But it is overwhelming. And I think we cared so much about, okay, it's our first office hours. We got to want to look the part. And then we show up and didn't have, a postcard that we were ready with. And it was like, we must rush a postcard by next week. And it was a design that we didn't end up using more than a few weeks because it was not the show poster. But we were so embarrassed and had this feeling of like, we're not going to be seen as professional, serious producers if we don't have this thing that everyone else has. But just remind yourself to take a beat, a step back, and look at the steps that you need to be successful, because we wasted money on 100 postcards we didn't need. And it's confusing branding because it's not the branding of your show because we switched the poster design. So just take a breath. And if that means you go to an office hours 1 extra week with nothing but here's my social media, that's okay. Because the high I'm is plenty. And don't worry so much about perception, because I think we were just it was our first time in an indie space like that as well. And it was just like so worried about coming off like we're doing theater right. And there is no right or wrong. I guess there's a little, but there's so many ways to do Fringe.
Yusuf, I'm gonna swap out your mic as well.
I feel like we need to do a dance every time.
Yeah. Here you go. Thanks, Robbie.
I have so many specific things. I'll just sound them off really quickly. So my venue also sold tickets at their box office, and I needed to go on the Fringe portal and block off the number of seats that they would sell. But on the first show, there was some confusion, and they were like turning away people, and because I think they were confused as to if it was oversold or not. All that to say, just check that if your venue's selling tickets or whatever, just check that. Ask questions. I think another thing is I had a videographer or photographer like a week before, for a reason, have to step back out of our contract. But I found on, what is that skills website? It's not Fiverr. There's another skills website. No, it's another. No, not. There's like a third one. I'll find it and email you guys. One of these like skills, huh? Yes, Craigslist. I found a videographer on the Skills website from Orange County, and then he was amazing. He was a wedding videographer. He'd never done a comedy show or any stage show, and honestly think he was better than most I've worked with in other comedy stuff that I've done. And it was amazing. Edited in one day, came from behind, had all these ideas, things like that. What I would have done is I invested the money to record my first show, the preview. Because I wanted footage for social media, I would have just had a friend or put an iPhone do the preview and use that, and I would have had the videographer do my second or third show because the performance was better and the tech was better because we needed the preview to nail that. Speaking of tech, the theater gave a 1 hour tag for a 1 hour show, and I thought that was fine. It wasn't enough time, and the theater couldn't have any more time to provide at that point. I would have booked at least 2 hours, if not more, for my tech. Had I known that, I also printed too many postcards and burned some money there. And I think another thing, and I've said this before, is I would have had a proper second set of hands, at least for the preview. That's just purely there for theater liaising, the ticket thing, the contact person for the videographer, photographer. If you're also the performer and what have you, I had production assistants. I didn't have full throttle producers in that sense. And I think the learning is that regardless if the show's one person or 100, producer is a valid role. So
Yeah.
I didn't make any mistakes. No.
after all that,
no. I guess to touch on the code of conduct at the beginning, our show, and I feel like a lot of shows have an aspect of improv. And I think in the beginning of the rehearsal process, I kind of gave free rein. And when there's 9 people on stage, sometimes ideas fly out the handle, and then you gotta rein it. And not that anything like terribly offensive was coming out of people's mouths, but you just want to remember that everything that happens on stage is a reflection of you. And there's profanity, there's a little violence and blood, but you want people to leave feeling like they were entertained and not attacked. And so just keep that in mind, whether you're a solo show or you have a group project. Just remember that your name is on the poster. And I guess another thing, I wrote, directed, produced, and I was in it. And I think that was way too many hats. So don't feel like you have to do everything. I was surrounded by some really amazing people that stepped in and co-directed and helped produce, and they handled box office. Like, if you have a really good community, a really good village around you, there's nothing that is impossible, especially during the whirlwind that is June. Don't be offensive. Have a tribe.
Oh, I was going to say real quick, gotprint.com was what I used to print my postcards. And I think they were like, and I think like they were an affordable deal comparatively is what I heard.
Nice. Yeah. Print.com?
Gotprint. Oh, Gotprint. Gotprint.com. Yeah.
It's $25 for 100 postcards sometimes. Like $25 sometimes. There's like a new customer promo code. Yeah, it's it's very cheap. Yeah, double-sided.
Oh, yeah. Y'all, I get goosebumps every time, but I think
Gotprint.
Gotprint.
If you look it up, it should just come up with Google. I think it's green.
Got. G-O-T. Like you got it.
Yeah.
Got it. But y'all, thank you. And I know especially thank you for sharing all of the brilliant knowledge you have, but also sharing those pitfalls. I feel like that is a very vulnerable thing to do. And I think we're all going to be better for it, learning from those whoopsie daisies. And I think you've all said aspects of this. And I think it's a great last reminder as we go into the tornado that is almost June. But come as you are. As long as you come with kindness, you come with openness, you come with ready to learn something new. Understand that everyone is in the journey. Nobody is in Fringe who is has nowhere to go. There's no ceiling when it comes to theater and when it comes to the community. And so wherever you're at is exactly where you should be. And it allows you to learn from those who have done it for longer or are doing it currently more successfully. Help those who are struggling more than you are. And I think everywhere within that you're going to find joy and you're going to find growth. And celebrate those moments. It's not about having the perfect show. It's not about having the perfect, every single house being completely sold out. It's about are you able to walk away from it and going, I'm better than where I started. And I have these new skills. I have these new friends who have these new skills who are going to do this with me next time. And so focus in on those little things. And with that, we're going to take some questions. And so a reminder to start marketing yourself now. So I'm going to run around the room with the square mic. Tell us your name and the title of your show. That way we're marketing the shows we're working on. So I'm going to run around. Just raise your hand. Good. One of these, I'm going to fall up the stairs. Just wait.
I'm not scared to raise my hand. Hi, I'm Shoshana Green, and this is my partner.
I'm Nick Malice. Hi.
And we are producing the show Comics Reading Comics, which is stand-up comedians reading ridiculous old silver and golden age comic books, which if you know those old comic books, I love them because they are so ridiculous. And there's light costuming and props and yeah. So, and this is a question for like the whole panel. Yeah. So one of the things that I really love about Fringe is that community aspect of it. And I know you've touched a lot on that, but I guess I'm coming back to the Fringe after not doing a show since before the pandemic. And I really feel that there's like a big change in like community, that sense of community. I'd love any advice you have on that or comments on how things are now.
Thank you so much for the. I'm going to jump in just to provide context because I have been around since 2010, and I think that's a great question. Like anything, we're a teenager now. That means we're growing up, just like right? We're big girls now. But in general, like we started out as a volunteer-run organization, which was a bit of like, oh my God, we're doing this, and we don't know how we're doing this, and barely doing it, but somehow there was shows happening and people hanging out together. That's where it started, and it slowly evolved into now. Like pre-COVID, we were. Volunteers with a stipend, like I was working almost full time in my food and beverage and partnerships director position for $6,000 a year, right? Like, and it was a completely like volunteer with a stipend run org. We didn't have a code of conduct yet. We didn't have, a lot of these professional elements. And then during COVID, because of the growth in 2019, really, we were able to spend that time during COVID with the leadership transition as well. It used to be run by two different people. Ellen and I took over in 2021, technically, but 2020. And so we've been building that element. So we have the code of conduct. We have the industry program. We've started to kind of put into place more of what is in it for the artist beyond let's get to know each other and we're really powerful together, which is how it started. But then all of y'all have been in a post-COVID Fringe. So what is it now? I guess is a good kind of transition into the panelists. Yeah.
The community aspect has been great. I heard about Fringe because my friends did a few Fringe shows the year before, and I thought it was really cool. But I was also like, oh, I can do this. And I didn't know exactly what to expect coming into it. And the community aspect was huge. And it felt like, I think, we all know the world's in a very weird time. And the art that is being mass produced, a lot of it is bad. And I think we're in a place where a lot of mainstream art isn't strong anymore, which is a bummer. So I think a lot of people are turning to theater and art, and it's exciting to meet other people where it is like the big I don't think anyone's doing this kind of like what Yusuf said, because we're expecting to get famous out of it, It's except for Yusuf. But it's like if we're doing it, it's because it's like we want to do this, we want to perform, we want to do the art, and it's like meeting a lot of people who feel that way is really gratifying. And also just seeing other art or theater that's like very unlike your own is really exciting. I think that's the kind of, TV shows and movies that people get really excited about too and gravitate towards too, but that's happening less and less. So then people are turning to theater more. And I think that was like what was very excited about being part of that community and like seeing and witnessing that community.
Yeah, I heard about Fringe for the first time. I think going into 2020, I was asked by a director friend to be in her Fringe show. And obviously that show did not happen because of the pandemic, but it was on my mind ever since then. And when we finally decided to do it, we had never written truly little short film things, but like not really written anything in full before. And we were lucky enough that we had done theater had just started coming back in LA. So we had done a little bit of theater with a theater company in Burbank and had grown like our theater friend community a little. So we went in and we're like, we'll have some friends that will show up. We'll see what happens. And being someone that has now produced at Fringe more than once, doing 2 years consecutively, me and Roddy have joked about this, how we realize that there's you have like your class, your Fringe class. So I have like my class of 2023 paired with my class of 2024. So there's a bit of a cohort of us, and a lot of our friendships have continued on where even if we don't see each other all the time, and even if they're producing outside of Fringe, we're going to each other's shows. And we're supporting each other and it's genuine, but we also all know the next time one of us is at Fringe, you're going to come. And so that community has been really nice to cultivate and see grow throughout the years. And yeah, it's been really exciting. Even just like people in those two cohorts that we have in 23 and 24, getting invited to workshops that they're hosting, or just like someone wants to have a pool party. So you start to have this genuine friendship. And it's been nice because I think our audiences have grown every year because of it. So
Yeah, I think +1 to what everyone has said. And the only thing I'll add is like the Fringe last year, I went to like 23 shows or so, and all the shows are just really good. Yeah. Like, I don't know what it was like prior to the pandemic. I've only been here since 2023, and that's when I started seeing Fringe. But all the shows are really high quality. Even the shows that are like silly or improvised or what have you are like really well done.
Yeah, I would say I was an actor for a few Fringes pre-2019, and this was my first year as a producer last year, and I would say the resources are probably the biggest change that I've seen. Just everything that's everything that's available, the visibility that Lois and Ellen and Roddy have, where there's nowhere that you will be where you can't find an answer to something. I would take advantage of any resource that's available, and then don't beat yourself up for things that you can't do. There's so many things, and you're one person or two people. But it's a buffet of creative resource. So, yeah.
No, it's interesting to look at Fringe because Fringe exists all over the world, right? And it speaks to the need. I think the more Ellen and I travel to other Fringes, we're able to learn like really how a Fringe operates at its like best capacity, and when it's at its true value, and it's speaking to the needs of the community. That's audiences and artists, right? At the end of the day, I think we've all seen the industry kind of just like go belly up, and like really both film and TV and theater, and we've seen kind of the weight that Fringe holds filling that gap of like study and like school into paid artistry. Because let's be honest, there isn't like the doors just don't open at the Geffen because you've graduated from theater school, and like and that it is such bullshit that there's so much being held back by these gates of like the 4 institutions that are actually funding, and then you have the United States, which isn't funding anything artistic, and so we are just holding on to stories until we combust. And so we see the need for Fringe, which is naming a pay to play too. I want to name outright, like we don't see like the bullshit within that model either, right? Like we're doing our job, we're doing our best to do our job of making it worth it, because it is a pay to play model, and that cannot be the fix for our theater industry. If it is, none of us are going to make it out of it. And so recognizing that and trying to do what we can to at least provide more opportunity every year so that we can fill in the gap until something shifts beyond Fringe, because Fringe can't save the theater industry. But trying to fill the gap in the meantime. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna go here, and then
Thanks. I'm John Schnitzer. I got my show's Something Spooky. It's a horror comedy about it's about my grandmother's imaginary friend that turned out to be not so imaginary. And we show clips from the paranormal investigation that happened at her house.
I'll be there.
I thank you. I can't wait for you to come. My question is, where did you take your shows, or what did you do with your shows after Fringe? And when did you make a plan for that?
I alongside writing the scripts for the stage, I wrote a screenplay alongside of it. So that was the next plan of transferring it and adapting it to the screen for me. Yeah.
After my show, I did it at Lyric Hyperion. What part would you say came to see? Because he also we were both so busy we didn't get to catch each other's shows, so it was nice that it was like, oh, okay, there's the time he can watch it separately, which was great. Very nice and supportive of him. And then but I was also partially doing it at Lyric Hyperion. I'm originally from New York, so then I took it to New York when I went back for the holidays, and it's just like what's one of the cool things is like once you have a show, you have a show. There is a thing you have that you've made that you can show to other people. That's like really cool. It's like that's your thing, and it can be, presented to the world. And then now I'm doing, because of the Denver Exchange, I didn't win, but because I was nominated, like Lois said, I was able to like connect with those people and meet those people. So now I'm doing Denver Fringe in the first week of June. So that's really exciting. It just wouldn't have been like on my radar, if I hadn't heard about it through here. So yeah, it was great. It's great.
Remind me to connect you with people who are going. There's a couple other Hollywood Fringers going, so we can make that connection. Another reason to do like a community thing, right?
For me, my show from 2023, we saw that a new festival was emerging that had shows that were 30 minutes or shorter, and mine was about a 23-minute show. So we submitted for that and did it again, which was really fun. And then we had a friend through Fringe approach us that they just wanted to shoot something new as a short film. So they were like, let's shoot this. So we adapted the script for the screen, and it's in post-production now. And then, yeah, we'll see. And then with Our American Tragedy, we just got really lucky. A friend of ours saw the show here, and she has a theater in Arizona. And so she brought the show to Arizona earlier this year. We just had to make it a full 2-act. So we revamped the script, added a character, and took it out of LA for the first time. So that was my first time ever going elsewhere with the show, which was very weird and exciting. So yeah, that was really, really fun.
Nice. My show is autobiographical, and the actual subject matter, there were life updates that happened after my show. So I've been at a pause of doing it again because I need to rewrite the ending. So that's where I'm at.
Also, Midsummer Scream is a fantastic one of the Discover Awards, and ours was so specific to our venue, and there were like chase scenes and all that stuff, so it wasn't something that could be transferred easily, but that sounds fantastic.
It's kind of speaks to the pros and cons, right? It's easier, like you had an easier time marketing, but it's a lot harder to get 9 people to get on the road and go go on tour.
We didn't have a bus.
Yeah. You had a question, right? Yeah.
Yes, I do. Hi, I'm Raina. My show is called The Uterus Party. It is a one-woman show. It is all about my hysterectomy and how 2 days before I decided to throw a goodbye uterus party with 20-some odd of my girlfriends and 3 of my guy friends because they rule. This is my question for the solo artists because, the other 2, you have multiple cast members. You have a bunch of people that you can bring in. How do you bring in your people? How do you bring in people to help you with the marketing and the video and the this and the that and all the 10 zillion little pieces?
Yeah, I think it is just like, it sounds like you have a lot of friends. So I mean, it was like I think, utilizing your network. If 23 of your friends came to your uterus party, I'm sure a lot of them have the skill set and also, but also are like happy to help out. It sounds like you have very loving friends who are happy to help out. Like for my promo video, my friend who had like these video editing technical skills that I would never have, like helped me shoot the video and edit the whole thing. And I paid him by like buying him like a lunch because I was like, he knew I didn't have like a ton of money, but I didn't want to give him nothing. And then it was also like, we'll get a lunch after this. I can like treat you and that'll be. So it's just like, I think, utilizing the network you have. I'm assuming since we're in LA, a lot of them maybe do have more of the technical or production side or marketing experience. I'm sure if they have, I'm sure everyone, if they have the bandwidth or, I think people are eager to help and because they care about their friends, so they want to help their friends. Yeah.
I know it was really hard asking for help. I was in that boat too. I think it's just the things that took up for me. It's like I would talk about my show a lot with friends in like April and May. There'd be a lot of people would be like, "Oh, if you need help, let me know." And then finally towards May, when they're like, "If you need help, let me know," I say, "Yeah." And so I had one friend that helped shoot promo videos, and he just needed a second set of hands. I had a friend who did like photography pro bono, which was nice. And then I had a friend, we would like trade like door stuff, box office stuff. And even this year, I was a friend who's doing Fringe, and she's like, my partner's away. I have no one to do. I need somebody to be, for my show, pass out stuff while people are online because the show starts there. And I'm like, have you asked your friends? She's like, no, I don't know anyone could do it. I'm like, have you asked me? She's like, what? She's like, can you do it? I'm like, yeah. So I'm gonna do her line on June 22nd. And so, yeah. So I think you just gotta ask.
Yeah,
or just say, what people will say, can I help you to say yes?
Right, and I think specifics, right? I think you're absolutely right. Like people do want to say yes. They mean it when they say, how can I help? But what they need to know is how to help. Like I have a 6-year-old goddaughter, shout out HJ. But like what we talk about her, like when you're asking for something, look someone in the eye and tell them what you need. Like they don't always know. It's like, I want is not enough. I need is not enough. Like what are the specifics so that they can actually come through for you? Because we're all golden retrievers that want to help each other. We just don't know how. All right, next question. Yes. And then I'll come back around.
Hi, my name is Vivia Armstrong. I have a solo show called Belly Full, What's Filling Her Physically, Mentally, and Spiritually, June 7th, 14th, 15th, and 20th. I was wondering two things. One, what were some things that you did to take care of yourself, like your self-care throughout the process and before and after? And then what were, if anyone did any fundraising, do you have any fundraising tips, especially during this month towards the start? Thank you.
Great question.
I can chat about fundraising. Yeah, we fundraised both years. My favorite avenue was using Seed and Spark as far as doing like an online, if you're doing crowdfunding specifically, and if you have people that are out of state, it was really useful. They have a really user-friendly interface. And what's cool is that they're growing, but they're still quite a small company. So they answer you. Their customer service is great. And they require, versus like Kickstarter, Indiegogo, or those websites, they require you to submit your campaign for review, and they give you feedback on what they think's not working. I mean, they won't let it go live until you revise. So they'll tell you they always suggest a 30-day campaign versus 60 or 90. 90 is the cap. And we were debating doing 60, and they were like, we really don't see as much success with 60 day. We still did 60. And it's fine, Matt. It's fine. I'm not mad anymore. But I do think 30 was great. But it was cool because they were like, we think you should do 30 for these reasons. If you don't do it, that's fine. But we're not going to let you go live until you've thought about it and review. And then they'll also review the content, like the backstory, all the sections you fill out. And they will say, this sounds great. This is not meaty enough. This is too meaty. And they'll just give you some gentle pointers of this is what we've seen be successful on our website. And they're also nice because you only have to hit 80% to get your funding, to get greenlit. Seed and Spark. It's a really great website. I've used a few different.
And you can use it for film and television.
Yeah. I've used it. Yeah, and I've used a few different websites, and I find that this one was the best option for us. And then as far as fundraising in person, we did a fundraiser for Our American Tragedy in February. Yeah, February. It was February. You were there. That's why I looked at Roddy. And that was an in-person fundraiser. And that was very different because we didn't want to crowdfund in the same way anymore because I feel like we had asked for enough favors from our friends and family at that point. So we did an in-person event at a Fringe venue, actually, Eastwood, where we had an evening we did a stage reading of the first act of the show. So it was a ticketed event, but the tickets were tiered. So if people wanted to come and play carnival games and enjoy our raffle, that was something that they could add on and enjoy separately, but you could also just come for the reading and have a chat with us as actors and producers. And that was a really successful fundraiser. It was my first time ever planning and hosting a fundraiser in person. That wasn't an online campaign. And I can talk about it for hours. If you have questions after, I'm down to chat. But it was really exhausting. It's like producing your show. So we were doing both at the same time and mentally very exhausting. So definitely know what you're getting yourself into before. We had a friend manage the fundraiser because we were so overworked trying to get every element just right. So definitely if you're thinking in person, just really work out your beats of what that looks like. And if you're going to do just so for your mental health. And then if you're going to do an online campaign, especially something like Seed and Spark, they need a couple days of a turnaround. So I would just to give you that approval and that sort of thing and to go live. So give yourself 2 weeks of the application process. Submit it as early as you can once you're ready, and then give them time to respond and calculate that into when you want to go live because you choose your date of going live. But if you are hoping to go live in 3 days and you're just submitting your first round today, they're going to need probably a week to get back to you. So understand when you want to drop your campaign and if that's strategic. We had it go live, I think the first year, I can't remember exactly. We either had it close right after the first show or I think it opened right at the first show and it went through the festival. Some people make it end right before their first show is starting. So there's pressure to, we need to fund the show or it's not going to happen. So your audiences and your fans, friends, and family will curate their finances based on what you need with that.
Even a fake reason for a deadline is something. You have to give that pressure, that reason for
You
now.
need it,
Otherwise,
yeah.
we could just be fundraising every day, all day.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to shift only for the sake of time into the how do y'all take care of it yourselves? Because it really is a marathon, not a sprint. And I mean, Roddy went down the first year Roddy did the festival. He was out sick for a full week and a half because he didn't take care of himself. 2 weeks. So how do you take care of yourselves?
I think quick things for me is like I made sure that I didn't plan going to another person's show like the hours before or the night before. After previews, as I said, I was like, actually, I think I can handle it. And then another thing that I did that made things special were I think for three of my 4 shows, I had out of town guests. So right after the show, I had made reservations at restaurants or bars, and going and like having dinner and celebrating with friends afterwards really made it feel more real compared to the one show where I just went home back to the bedroom in which I was writing the show in. So I would say like treat yourself immediately after, because you're going to be on this adrenaline rush, and rare in life do you get those moments, right? It's either by doing this or doing illicit drugs. So you want to do it by doing this.
Yeah, I would echo a lot of what Yusuf said, especially since you're doing a solo show. It is. I also similarly, for when it was my preview shows, if you can, I try not to do too much before the show or after the show. But then after previews, sometimes I'd be like, oh, if my show's during the afternoon, maybe I can catch a show at night and it's fine, because by that point, you've kind of gotten in the rhythm of it. Doing a solo show is interesting, and I've talked to other people about it. Yeah, definitely connect to other people who are doing solo shows because they'll feel the same way, where it was like, even when the show is doing well and the audience response is good and you're getting good feedback, in your head, you still just might be like, was that bad? Because you are so just yourself on stage. You're just so by yourself. While with an ensemble, you can like connect and be like, no, the audience responded well. We all had like this reaction, or we all like had this experience together. So solo show is really, it is very rewarding. It's great, but it is also, it can be isolating. Yeah. Cause it's yourself. So you have to like definitely take care of yourself, because you're just like processing a lot of it on your own, of like the performance of it and the producing of it and like the audience reaction of it. I also, sometimes I would try and have like a kind of big meal before the show, because I'm like, my show especially, I was like, it's like on the aggressive side, or it was just like, it just took a lot of energy. So it was just like, oh, I just didn't want to burn out while I was on stage. So the basics of that for sure.
Always carry a snack in that bag. You'll see me with my applesauce, y'all. I take it serious.
I'm very bad at this, but I would say maybe choose a day or two throughout this month where you don't think about the show, you don't think about Fringe, you just kind of check in with yourself, because you've gotten it to this point, you've opened, your show is up and running, and it's great. And also celebrate yourself. You made it, you did it. The moment you registered your show, like, you won. So I think that's because all the other stuff I'm not good at. My cast was like, go to sleep, go eat, you know what I mean? But it's tough. Just pace yourself and celebrate yourself. Yeah.
I love that. I feel like I was going to take one more question, but I feel like, how do you not end on that? Like, celebrate yourself. Like, boom, yes. And y'all, I know there were more questions. I'm so sorry. There's never enough time. But we do have to be out of this space in the next few minutes. But if you want to head out to the front, I will be around until there's no more questions. I promise. Just give us a second to kind of clear out, and then I will meet you out front. But thank you to our panelists. Thank you so much. Y'all, we are so lucky to be in community. And the bathroom is back here if anyone is just having that panic attack of where's the bathroom.